Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. Welcome to the full-time show with me and Frank. A really disappointing night. Some positives we can take out of them. More negatives. I think it's going to be a little bit of a post-mortem, a little bit of a trying to figure out where that went wrong, because I felt for so much of that game, Arsenal were in it. Arsenal were the better team for the first 45.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, I kept thinking, City having more of the ball, but they're not doing that much. And if we can just, string a couple passes together, we'll be in their final third. I just can't believe how well they kept us away from goal. And Akanji coming in maybe played a part in that. But I mean, what's your overriding feeling?
I'm so conflicted because overall, I don't think we've been playing too bad in the times that we've not been winning games over the last 4 games.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But that second half today reminded me of, I don't know if you can see it as well, 2018 Arsenal with the defensive mistakes.
Okay.
I think at least 2 of those goals are because of our mistakes. So it is very self-inflicted for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, self-inflicted mistakes. Saw Tom Cantanguna talk saying, very kind of reminiscent of last season against City, which is true. The thing with the mistakes, I said about the Tomiyasu one, that was just an absolute howler, right? Because we were saying at half-time, you can kind of see down the line. So I'm surprised he's kind of even choked. Because what I was saying was, even if he executed his pass perfectly to Ramsdale, I still think there's a good chance De Bruyne either intercepts it, or if it gets to Ramsdale, it's going to be able to press him. So I thought it was a really strange decision from Tomiyasu. But I understand these things happen quite quickly. With the second goal, so it's Gabriel who tries to play it back into midfield. Again, that's a mistake from Gabriel, but I also think City are just that good at punishing you, because when I look at that, he's just played a pass forward into midfield. Yes, it's an error, but it's not a pass back like Tomiyasu. It's not a penalty. By the way, people might get onto Gabriel for the penalty that he nearly gave away, but that was never a penalty. He didn't do anything wrong.
I don't think so.
So once he kind of plays it into an area when no one's there, they kind of get it and then they pick us off. But it's high risk, high reward. A lot of our best attacks came through Arsenal actually trying to play out the back and play through Man City. So it's one of those where it's annoying it happened, but I don't want to get onto them too much for it.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. I don't want to get onto them too much either, because at the end of the day, regardless of these last 4 games, it's still been an amazing season. And I think it would be criminal for us to take away from that just because of 4 games. But what I do think is important, obviously, we've got the fixtures we've got upcoming. Now that this gap has closed, unless City lose a game themselves, I don't think we've got any room to lose a game. Obviously, I know we've still got the game in hand, if we end up beating Everton, which is our game in hand, it still puts us 3 points ahead. We've not got room for mistakes anymore, so we just need to make sure that this is the last of the mistakes that obviously it's not going to be the last of it, but we just need to, from this point, minimize all mistakes, because we need to be near perfect if we're going to continue to even think about winning the league.
We'll get onto the title chat in a sec. We're going to get your calls as well, guys. Get onto the AFTV app, get on FANZONE, and join us. Matthew says Jorginho, Arsenal's best player today. I thought so too. We'll talk about the positives and negatives.
Do you know what, I'm very glad he had a good game today, because I think
I'm glad as well.
He was people got onto him after the Everton game. We conceded a minute after he came on, which isn't really directly his fault, but I just think he got made the scapegoat for that. So to come in and make your full debut against Manchester City, he's done a very good job there for me.
I agree. I thought Jorginho was good today. I thought he was one of the few positives. I thought Saliba largely had a good game. I thought Saka, again, at the heart of all our best attacking stuff. On the top of individuals, I thought Nketiah worked really hard, but my word, especially when we describe him as more of a penalty box striker, especially when we talk about how he's a finisher and he's there for goals, you've got to get those goals. And look, scored 2 brilliant goals against Manchester United, so let's not just suddenly say, he can't score at the biggest level in the biggest games or whatever, but he had a bit of a shocker in front of goal today in terms of the cross into the box from Tomiyasu. He goes with his right foot. Thought that was a strange decision, but ultimately doesn't get anywhere near it. The header, he puts it wide. I think if you're going for that near post, you've got to hit the target. If not, put it back across goal where there's more room to aim for.
I think there's another header later on in the game. as well.
And by that point I was kind of zoned out, and I know I shouldn't be, because anything can happen. Look at Tottenham and Leicester, 2 goals in injury time. But I just think even I at that point was thinking, here we go. I thought Gabriel, he wasn't as bad as some of the moments he was involved in will make out. I think it will go down as, he had a bad game because he nearly gave away a penalty and he gave away a goal or whatever, but I don't think he was awful at all. Zinchenko, I was surprised. I really, he's the kind of person who, he brings the calm and he drives into midfield when the ball's not there, and he just has those little moments of magic. And I don't think he's had a moment of magic for 3 Premier League games in a row now. I don't think he's been doing enough to support Martinelli either. I understand he comes into midfield. This is a point that Troops made and others made after the Brentford game, but it's more, I don't mind what he's doing in terms of coming into midfield, but I think people are sussing that out now, so we don't have the same overload. And actually, when it does get out to Martinelli, because rather than playing through, it's coming out to him a bit earlier, Martinelli's just got a lot of work to do. But I will say that I don't think Martinelli was good either tonight, I'll be honest.
I think we're really struggling overall down that left hand side, and I think it's about time we made some changes, especially, we've got the big game out of the way in Manchester City. I think Villa is a very good chance. I don't want to say experiment.
No, I'll be honest. I think City's a tough game. Villa's a tough game.
It's a tough game, but if you talk about, in all honesty, he should have made these changes against Brentford. But we're going to need to rotate out somewhere.
Our change is the reason we're in this position, because he went and made changes in the FA Cup, and some people have brought that up. And look, it's one of those things where I know we do the whole hindsight's wonderful thing, but going into that Man City FA Cup game, honestly, this is absolutely true. I said I don't want him to change because A, I think I want to see how Arsenal's first 11 do against City, but B, I thought I don't want to lose momentum. There's a big gap between the 2 Premier League games either side of that Man City FA Cup game, and I wanted to see him go for it, go punch for punch and have a go and see how they did. And actually, it was a pretty tepid display, though there was things to like. Similar to this game, actually. First half, a lot to be impressed by. Second half, they just sort of got control and we couldn't really do anything. Didn't really have enough shots, couldn't really do anything in the final third. They just kind of controlled us out of the match.
Yeah, and you know what? City have made a reputation off of doing that. They're a fantastic team, and they've been very successful for that very reason.
But do you think we can go all the way back to the FA Cup tie, or is that too much?
What do you mean?
What, that he over-rotated, it killed our momentum? And
no, I think with the FA Cup, it's a bit of a it's not a priority. So I think that was the time to rotate and get it out of the way, so we didn't have to do it in the league. Yeah,
February's been a bit of a shocker for us. I do think he could have made changes a bit sooner, maybe today.
Oh no, definitely. I don't think it was till the 70th minute that we did.
75th minute.
75th minute. That's way too late.
I think he left it too long to bring Tomiyasu off. I think you could see that Tomiyasu was winning his head as he always does, battling as he always does, but largely not at his best at all.
Makes the mistake for the first goal. The second goal comes off of him, which is not really his fault. He's tried to defend it, but he didn't have the best of games today.
I don't think Ramsdale's covered himself in glory tonight. That's not to say he had a bad game at all.
Yeah.
I think if you are, I don't like portioning blame necessarily, but I think if you're looking at the goals, it's like Saliba doesn't win the header, so a little bit of blame there. Or I think he does get a touch on it, but it goes back towards goal. Tomiyasu takes a large part of the blame, almost all of it, because of the awful pass back. And then Ramsdale's positioning, you said yourself at half time, he should just retreat to his line and buy himself a little bit of time.
I believe so.
He almost makes the decision for De Bruyne. But again, I think maybe in that situation, you're also taught as a keeper, aren't you, to close the angle and make it difficult for them. So maybe that's a part of it. Then we look at the second goal, Gabriel, poor pass into midfield, and then they kind of take advantage of that situation well.
Yeah.
But again, it's not Ramsdale's fault because it takes a deflection of Tomiyasu.
Yeah,
but then whenever a ball kind of is that near to you, when it goes, you always think, can the keeper do a little bit better?
I don't think you can in that situation, because without the Tomiyasu deflection, he makes the save. You can see it goes over his arm. So maybe he can be a little bit more reactionary in terms of the fact that he can just lift his arm. But I really don't think you can put that second goal down to Aaron Ramsdale.
I tweeted that. Sometimes no block is better than a bad block. And
no, I agree.
And you see it time and time again where, was it Souttar for Leicester scored no goal the other day because he tried to just stick a leg out and it went past the keeper at the near post. I think that was against Villa. I think that's a great example. Koscielny used to score these kind of goals all the time. That's an example of where Tomiyasu, he's not done anything wrong.
No,
bless him.
he's done his job.
He's tried to throw himself at it because he's had to come and cover for Gundogan, and then he's actually got a cross to get the block in, but he's not got a good enough block in, and then it causes Ramsdale problems. Third goal, I couldn't even bring myself to watch it again, but I mean, it's that De Bruyne underlap, finds Haaland, and then he just finds the corner of the net, and you look at it, it's all just very easy. But I think at that point, City did what Guardiola's philosophy of football, which is ultimate control, is meant to do to the opposition, which is wear you down mentally, to where you start going, I know we're in this game, but we haven't had a shot on goal in like 20 minutes. And I think you could see Arsenal, you know, people might not be too happy with Saliba and Gabriel tonight, or whatever the defence did, and I hear that, but I don't think we did anywhere near enough in the final third to make City think, all right, we can't commit all the way here.
To be honest, I don't think it was the whole defence. I actually think Saliba had a decent game.
Yeah, no,
Saliba,
I did too.
Saliba done as well as he could.
I thought he was the better of the two centre-backs.
No, well, that was evident. Yeah, no, I think he done a very good job of Erling Haaland when he was marking Erling Haaland, but I think Gabriel kind of let him down a little bit today.
Yeah. All right, let's go into some calls.
Let's go.
Let's get everyone's thoughts on the game. We've got Michael from Boston. Let's get Michael in. Hey, Michael.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's,
okay, great.
Tough one tonight.
I refuse to feel ashamed by the performance. I thought it was a brave performance, a good performance. It's true that at this time, City in this version is probably better than we are. But we should remember that City is in a relegation fight now. That City is about to be sent into the Championship.
Ah, right.
What? So
are you right?
You think that spurred them on?
I don't care. What I'm saying is that City fans now have to prepare for facing Coventry and Hull City next year. Because they have the team they have only after 10 years of absolute cheating on financial fair play.
Look, I hear that, and there are, you know, there have been, were there fully charges, or I can't remember if they were actually charged, but obviously everything came out, and we know that's being investigated, and I hear that. But on the pitch tonight, Arsenal didn't do enough to unsettle a City team that have lost at Anfield, lost at Old Trafford, lost at Tottenham very recently. We didn't do enough, really, did we, to at least have something going the other way. Even that second half where we had to do a lot of defending, we had to, you know, do a lot of football in our own half. We didn't do enough to cause them problems, did we?
No, we didn't, but that doesn't make me full of despair. That just shows that we are now a Champions League team who is not yet ready to challenge for the Champions League title. But that's just part of the process. We are so far beyond where we expected to be at the beginning of this season that if we're looking at second place, we would have all taken top four if we would have been offered that at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have the power still to despise the City. Can you think to blow out the fire that shall engulf the City with such weak breath as this? No, you are deceived. Therefore, City, prepare for your execution.
I love a bit of Shakespeare.
Come on, you Gunners.
Love it. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Good.
As always.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Always a pleasure chatting to Mike. I didn't get to actually get his thoughts on whether he thinks we'll still win the league, but how long do we... Can get Harvey on in a sec. How long do we sit on this before we transition into, look, we're further ahead than we expected to be, let's just keep fighting and see where we end up?
Well, it's a very good question. I would like to believe that we're still in it, so it's mathematically impossible, and that is just kind of hopeful thinking, I suppose, on my case. But
we're one draw at home to Everton away from being top of the league again. The problem is that buffer that we were all really enjoying has been completely and utterly eaten away. Yeah. So now it's a dogfight. Now it's neck and neck with City.
No, of course.
Do we have the minerals to go toe to toe with them?
I think we do. Obviously,
I think a fully fit Arsenal do.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And obviously, we've still got the likes of Gabriel Jesus to come back. Obviously, we were missing Thomas Partey today, but I think he definitely helps that team massively. So we've got injuries to come back. I think in terms of squad depth, we're in a better position than we have been for a very, very long time. And I'm not saying it's exactly of the level of Man City's squad depth, but we've definitely got it there to challenge.
Dave Jordan says Arteta got the tactics wrong. Should have told Gabriel to pass to the red players, not the blue. Team not at the level to get 90 points yet. Chill.
I shouldn't laugh at that. I really shouldn't laugh at that.
No, but fair play. Let's try and.
Sorry, that's really got me there.
Fair enough. AP says, in the end, money will always win. Our fans who are happy with smart and no one else was available mentality should be blamed. Come on, are you really going to blame fans? Is that what we're going to resort to now? That we're a draw away against Everton from being top of the league again, which, by the way, is on the 1st of March. So we could go into March still top of the league, probably a better position than we expected to be in, and we're going to resort to blaming fans. Was Jorginho the problem tonight? Jorginho was brilliant. In fact, he was one of the few non-problems out there. Other people around him didn't do enough. Xhaka didn't do enough in the final third that I thought worked really, really hard. I thought did okay generally. Martinelli didn't do enough. Eddie didn't do enough with his chances. Jorginho did what he had to do. He kept things moving. He was receiving off the centre-backs. Thought showed really good passing range.
Absolutely.
Was picking out players in really advanced sort of pockets as well. And was winning the ball back. I'm going to try and get his defensive stats up. But he did well. So here we go. We're going to blame the fans because we understood why they went for a Jorginho. He did fine today. Would we have done better with Partey? Probably. Yeah, probably. Because Partey's got that little bit of finesse, a little bit of extra in the final third, and that little bit extra across the pitch, actually. But come on. But anyway, I appreciate your super chat. It says we've had 2-3 windows to solve the same issues, but no big club ignores that. Well, I agree with that last part. We should be adding more. We should have added more in central midfield by now. Constantine says this loser mentality. Top four is the real target. Is why we allowed 2 8th place finishes in a row. Arteta shouldn't have ever managed this club. Listen, you're all entitled to your opinions. But some of you, I mean, if you don't want Arteta in the job off the back of this, let's have it out. Let's talk about it. Get on FANZONE, download the app. It's free to do so. Sign up and come on FANZONE, and we'll talk about it. Real Madrid Arsenal says no sugarcoating here. Inexcusable defensive errors from Gabriel and Tommy. Eddie should score to the City, and I still believe. Come on, you Gunners. Fair enough. Let's go to Harvey, who's waiting in the background. Hey, Harvey, a disappointing one.
Hi, Harvey.
How'd you see it?
I'm very, very frustrated and angry. I mean, I was frustrated leading up to the game when I saw Thomas Partey missing out because of a tight hamstring. Ridiculous. Yeah, man. Honestly, you know me, James. You know, I'm a very sensible guy. I like to look at the game from a tactical point of view. I don't think we were, done from a tactical perspective. In fact, I think that we were exploiting this Bernardo Silva role for a very long time. I think it just came down to very, very poor decisions, insisting on playing out from the back. City today didn't do that. When we pressed them and we pressed them well, they cleared it because they understood and they respected us as an opposition. And we weren't doing the same thing. We were fiddling about, gave them multiple chances. I mean, if you've played FIFA, it was like FIFA scripting. We just kept giving the ball away from them, giving the ball away, and the players just not reacting, especially on the left-hand side. We deserve to get battered today. And honestly, like, some of these players, man, to not curse, they lack bottle, as you guys over on the other side of the pond like to say, but just no personality, no testicular fortitude, just nothing at all. It's ridiculous.
Well, first off, I thought they showed a lot of personality. I thought the passing out the back was pretty crisp, actually. Yeah, there's the Tomiyasu error, but I thought we did okay. We played through City a few times. I thought we were creating a lot of openings, but actually having shots on goal. I thought generally that first half, we were quite comfortably the better team, actually. Though we didn't do as much as I kind of would have hoped. I thought we were quite comfortably the better team. But the second half, I know what you mean. Kind of once we recognised that City had squeezed up on us and that we'd spent the first 20 minutes of the second half completely camped in our half. I know what you mean. Like, they almost should have sensed the situation was different. Because let's be real, right? Man City were very long ball tonight. They were diving a lot. They were doing a lot of stuff that I thought, really? Is this Guardiola's utopian football of perfect control and perfect kind of, passing, always entertaining? But it was just smarter than us. They were smarter than us in the crunch part of the game.
Do you remember when Guardiola tried to play a high line against Liverpool in the Champions League and he got killed on the counter? Mm-hmm. He never played like that again. Every single time he played against Liverpool after that, it was a much deeper line. You have to respect the opposition. I can accept trying to be intricate and cute with the ball when we're playing against teams who perhaps don't have that same level of intensity on the press and aren't as well drilled. Mm-hmm. People think that our style of football is very, very offensive. Cruyff always said it. In my game, the goalkeeper is the first attacker and the forward is the first defender. Right? The way that our team likes to play, the way that Guardiola likes to play, they are so much more defensive than most people think they are. But it's that they're more defensive on the higher side of the pitch than they are in their own block. So when they make the tactical adjustment and we're being pinned back, you have to know when to say, all right, we can't squeeze the ball here, especially in these intricate sides, especially on the left-hand side when we don't have the same agility and that tight control, given the fact that we have Gabriel and Xhaka there who aren't as good on the ball as, I say, an Odegaard on the other side. You have to know when to go long and when to switch the play. And that's when we're actually doing very, very well in the first half. How many times did we switch the play in that first half compared to the second half?
You're so right. Yeah,
that was the main difference.
You're right. Yeah, it was an outlet we exposed well. Look, how you feeling about the title? Just quickly, your kind of thoughts on that. And that's not to say we concede it.
We're not winning.
Okay, fair enough.
I think you're giving up way too easy there, man. It's not. It's still mathematically possible.
No. Listen, I'm not. I don't like being reactionary. I played sports for 14, 15 years over here in the States, and I know a winning mentality when I see one. Leading up to this game, I was pumped. When I saw Thomas Partey was out, and I know he didn't play today, and by the way, shout out Jorginho, great game. But when I saw that Thomas Partey was out today because of a tight hamstring, the first thing I thought, I kid you not, was sell him. Sell him. I can't imagine, as a professional and as a man, one of the biggest games of the season, one of the biggest games of your career, and he's a man who's played Champions League final. You're on the verge of winning the title with Arsenal Football Club, who hasn't won the title in 19 years. And you're like, sorry, boss, bit of a tight hammy today. You can't play this one.
I think the problem that you've got with that is, though...
Are you serious?
I think the only problem that you've got with that is, yes, if he's injured, he's injured. We can... Yes, it's only a tight hamstring, but we run the risk of him being injured for longer and aggravating that. And would you rather not have him for the City game or rather not have him for a longer period of time at the end of the season?
I would rather have 6 points with a game in hand.
Fair enough.
You have to... Jorginho, why did we sign Jorginho for? What did we sign Jorginho for? To provide cover. Tierney had to blow out his knee coming out of a shower because Tavares was ridiculously inept because we were pushing on for top four. And this guy has a tight hand.
Oh, we're losing connection. Yeah, we've lost Harvey. It's a shame. We've lost the connection there.
I saw that, yeah.
We can't hear Harvey at all. Harvey, if you're watching this, interesting points raised about Partey. Yeah. Let's just explore that really quickly.
I think I kind of understand what he means, but in my personal opinion, I don't think it's worth the risk. For one game, I know it's a massive game, but I'd rather rest him for the one game and then make sure he's fully fit for the remainder of the season instead of running the risk of him being out for an extended period of time.
This is where, I'm so probably ignorant and lacking so much knowledge when it comes to understanding the medical and physical side of the game. But in my head, I can't help but think, I get what Harvey's saying in terms of, really, like a tight hamstring. And I'm not saying that you're right. He could play 5 minutes and come off with a torn hamstring and he's out for 2 months. I get it, I do get it. And I know that's the overriding thought and that's the right thought. But a little part of me is like, but if there's ever a game to just see if you can warm up the hamstring and
of course,
avoid any mad sprints like that.
But in his position, you can't avoid any mad sprints. You can't. I don't
think Jorginho put any mad sprints tonight. But I kind of get what you mean.
That's because he's not got that in his game, though. In my personal opinion,
should we give him his credit?
Yeah,
he created one chance today. He completed 58 of his 66 passes, the third most of any player on the pitch, may I say. Only William Saliba and Gabriel with more. Tells you where Man City were happy for Arsenal to have a lot of the ball. He actually completed 15 of his 20 attacking third passes. Only Zinchenko completed as many in 3 fewer attempts. So you can see the impact Jorginho was having in terms of getting on the ball. So look at ball recoveries, 8. 8 ball recoveries for Jorginho. Zinchenko 8 as well. Bernardo Silva with 9. He did well, Jorginho. Let's give him credit.
Listen, we need to give him all the credit he's due for this one. I think a lot of people were unhappy with the signing. A lot of people were getting onto him immediately.
3 interceptions as well.
I want to see the same energy when he does well, please, guys. Please.
3 interceptions, a block. What else have we got? Only 1 tackle, but he's not really. I know he's not really a tackler. He's more someone who kind of reads the game and gets in front. Then we've got Harvey back. Let's just get Harvey back to see if we can run. Hey Harvey, sorry about that.
Hey.
Yeah, still struggling to come through a little bit. But I will just ask, so just to round up, I don't know how to explain it. Like, is the title over for you because you don't believe the team have the mentality at this crucial part of the season to get over? Or do you think, did you watch that game and just go, City are just a better team than us?
From dropping points, and listen, to be more sensible now, because obviously I'm frustrated with the result. I think that we've dropped far too many points in recent games. And I think that when you look at a season, you have to look at moments and opportunities. And, you know, we failed to capitalize. Guys, we've dropped a lot of points. We could have gone into this game easily 9-10 points clear. So I think that's one thing. But I think secondly, in big moments and in big games, the discrepancy of skill and experience really, really, really shows.
Yeah.
You know, and the reality is that when you play against big moments and big games, like, the levels rise. And even if City haven't been at their best, when it's different when you've won 4 Premier Leagues in 5 years. And sometimes it kind of feels like, all right, lads, another day at the office. Let's just, you know, when you got to go up another gear, that's when the discrepancy in skill and talent and overall experience and ball really shows. And it showed today. We gave them the goals. We gave it to them. And we got a penalty, which was a penalty, but a soft one.
Yeah.
And when I look at that, plus the amount of points that we've dropped, we were in a position where we could have lost both games against City and still would have had 5-6 point gap. We failed to do that. And then now we lost and got embarrassed. So from a pure logistical perspective and a psychological perspective, which is a big part of this game, I say advantage City.
Yep. I think so too, if I'm honest. I think it's advantage City. All right, Harvey, always a pleasure chatting to you, man.
Cheers, Harvey.
All right, let's. Who else have we got waiting to jump on and chat with us? I've just been told to wait just a second. We've got Deanie. Let's get Deanie in.
Hi, Deanie.
Deanie, tough one.
Tough. My internet's bad, so I'm going to try and get in as quickly as I can. On the hamstring thing. The hamstring thing is very interesting because I was watching the PSG Bayern game yesterday, and Mbappe comes on, and he's also got a tight hamstring as well, but he comes on and he plays, but he didn't move around too much in that game. But because he's a striker, he just needs to stand somewhere and get a foot on it. With Partey, it's a different situation. It's a lot more running around. It's a lot more movement. Myself, I used to be a sprinter, and I injured my hamstring. 4 weeks later, I pulled it again. I was out for 2 years. Serious. Like, the hamstring is a killer. And I get it. I absolutely get it. But because of the injury problems that Partey's had, it couldn't be a risk. And in all honesty, I personally didn't miss Partey today. I didn't actually really leave Partey today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, in terms of the game, it's annoying because I think it literally comes down to poor moments and not being clinical enough. Because overall, as a whole, I don't think we didn't play that bad. When Eddie has his chances in the box, you've at least got to trouble the keeper and get it on target. You've got to get it on target. In the second half with Xhaka has a chance to actually lay it off to Eddie on like the left wing, but he plays the pass too much. In those moments, do you know what I mean? You got to have that composure. Xhaka almost had a chance to have a shot, but it was too much in his mind. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was fine moments. The second goal from Grealish, like, I understand. It comes off Tomiyasu. And because Ramsdale's already going down, that little flick just takes it over. It's fine moments. And we've always said the whole season that City are a better team than us, and they are going to come. We have always said that. And now they have caught up. Do I think the season is over? Do I think the league is over? Not at all.
Thank you.
We are only just getting started. And I am absolutely here for it because you know what? The last 4 games, you can look at them individually and say, okay, Man City, it was the FA Cup. We rotate. We didn't play well. We still could have won because we had chances in that game. Everton, we can say it's the new manager bounce their midfield around us, bish, bash, bosh, we lost. We come back to Brentford. Brentford with what? VAR. We could actually still be 2 points clear right now. And if we're gonna say that we haven't had a winning mentality in these last 4 games and we've been doing that, then let's look at the context of the whole season and say, okay, how many points have VAR actually taken off us this season? We could actually be more points ahead. But right now we can actually just have to talk about the game and talk about the moment. And it hurts. It absolutely hurts, but I don't think it's over. And I feel like if you want to become champions and want to be in that conversation of champions, then if you don't have a winning mentality now, you have to find it. And we have to find it against Villa.
Yeah, you're right, Dini. Always a pleasure chatting to you. I think you make some great points. Thank you, Dini.
Cheers, Dini.
And I want to explore what Dini said there a little bit more about it not being over. Now, as you were saying that, and I was trying to find some inspiration within myself to go, yeah, okay, you know, keep believing. And look, it's very hard not to get kind of caught up in the disappointment in it. I'm really disappointed. It is a long season. Mm-hmm. We always were talking about the title race, but that's like handbrake on of, yeah, but you know what, if City will claw it back, blah, blah. And now they've done that. They've done as we expected. So the question is, do we think Arsenal can respond? Now, I think we've got 2 really tough games coming. Villa away, Leicester away. They're not in the relegation hunt. They've got some quality players. Maybe the fact that they don't have in the immediate term like a lot to fight for might help us. But I was thinking, I know it's ifs, buts and maybes, but if we can get through, so we get 2 wins. I'm not. I mean, by the way, I'm not predicting we are, but let's say we do, and then Jesus returns, which will be soon after that.
Yeah.
You know, and Partey would be back. I just think that could give Arsenal a massive boost to get 2 wins on the bounce, beat Everton at home to go back above Man City, and then you inject this team with Jesus, Partey, Smith Rowe, who I forgot about.
Yeah.
That is the only way I can see us reigniting it, because they were talking, you know, downstairs after, you know, before we went live here, saying, I just don't see how we turn this around. And I'm thinking, well, City would have thought that when they lost to Brentford, and then when they lost at Tottenham, and some of the results they've had, they'd have been thinking, I don't know how we turn this around, blah, blah. But, you know, actually, I can see where Arsenal can get some boosts between now and the end of the season. But the first thing is we get that win. We find our mojo back and start scoring some goals again. Yeah. Because let's have it right. We did well in the first half, but ultimately our goal was a penalty. We didn't work Edison anywhere near hard enough. So do you think those little elements could re-spark us and get us back into life?
I think it's absolutely crucial that we get a win against Aston Villa. I know it's, you know, Villa Park is a very hard place to go away to, and I made the joke of saying I could beat Aston Villa at the moment, but I didn't take into consideration the Villa Park thing. It's, like I said, it's a very, very hard place to go to. I think at this very moment, it's just a blip that every team has every single season. If we go into the territory of 5, 6, 7 games without a win, then it just becomes a case of very bad form, and that's very troubling going into the second half of the season. Because if you look at the starts of the season that we had, the first 19 games, almost perfect. Without the only things I can think of are obviously the Man United loss and the Southampton draw. Almost perfect, 98% perfect. That goes far to say. So I just think we need to just try and get back into that same mindset. I know it's hard after not winning for X amount of time, but if we can just get back into that swing of things in terms of, you know, the winning mentality, I think we'd still be in a good position.
Yeah, opportunities still lie ahead because we built a good gap there, but it's gone now. The gap is gone. We have to win our game in hand to have, you know, a significant lead on City, or semi-significant. We have to draw to just return to the top of the table. So that will come March the 1st. We still have Villa and Everton away. Let's get Steven and Alexander in. Let's bring them in.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey, James. How you doing?
Well, I've been better, but you know what? It's a shame because for so many great Arsenal wins and great Arsenal performances, I've got to enjoy your videos and your contribution to this show. It's amazing to be chatting to you live. It's just a shame it's not on better circumstances. But look, give us your thoughts, give us your analysis. You always have so many amazing things to say. Take it away.
What I'll say is the league is not won by a home and away against City. And that's one thing that we have to keep focus on. You know, whether we lost both games against City, that's not what was going to determine whether we win the league or not. It's what happens between now and the end of the season as well. It is disappointing. You know, I was hoping, I was driving home like a madman from work, trying to catch the game on TV. And, you know, it kind of is disappointing. But I think James, one of the most frustrating things for me is this the up and down that the Arsenal fans sometimes that we get to hear about. Harvey, who I really enjoy his contributions, said that the team lacked testicular fortitude. I think the fans lack testicular fortitude. I mean, would you give up the joys that we've had in the first half of the season just because we lost the game today? I can't give up yet, We're tied with City on points. We're tied with City on points right now. If I bet you, James, you'd give me your hand at the beginning of the season if I told you 20 games gone, 21 games gone, we'll be tied with City. And yes, we have to look at what has happened, and we have given up the points. But at the same time, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I'm still very happy with the progress. I choose to be positive about it.
Yes.
Having said that, I think we do need to make a little bit of a turnaround and start getting a couple of wins. And there's no bigger one than this Saturday against Aston Villa, early kickoff against our ex-manager. We really need to start showing that we have the potential to at least challenge for this thing. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but for me today, it was just the mistakes. We made so many mistakes today, and they could have had another goal. Luckily, Holland was offside, but the mistakes cost us big today. There are some times where there's just a heavy pass or just bad recovery runs or just a turnover in the game that's cost us, and we can't have that. If we're playing against the big teams, we're just going to have to be more disciplined, more level-headed, and that comes with experience. We know we have a young team, and they're going to make mistakes, but if we want to get to the next level, we're going to have to patch that up a bit. And also, there's a time in the game we had 6 shots, 0 on target. City had 1 shot, 1 on target, and they made their goal. So that just shows that you have to be more clinical in front of goal. And we just weren't that today. It's as simple as that. Nothing much in the game.
I completely agree. Listen, I love the positivity, and you're right. Arsenal fans, and that includes me, we need to show more. We need to show more belief. Look, if we want the players to have the stomach for a title race, we got to show the stomach for a title race. I understand why Arsenal fans feel disappointed because we have so many. I mean, all I've known of title races is getting to February and March and throwing it away. And I do believe this team's different. I do believe this team is on a different trajectory and going in a different direction. But you're right. It feels like City are formidable, but they only are if we let them. So we got the quality to keep up. And you're right about the run that we've been on. Pre-World Cup and everything. And let's try and make those memories count. So sorry
to cut you off, but right before City scored the second goal, we had about 2 good chances. There was a one cross that Nketiah could not get to, which I think he should have actually tried to use his left leg instead of his right. It'll have given him a little bit more length. There was a cross where he heads the ball, it goes wide. It's those small chances that you miss it, and then the other team goes the other side. They get a goal, they score. So with a team like City, you can't miss your chances. You can't miss your chances. You play well enough, but you make one mistake and they capitalize on it. So, we go again. I'm not downtrodden yet. I still want to believe in this team, and I still think that they can turn things around. So, what do you think, Al?
Yeah, I agree. We have to get this win on Saturday against our former coach, but we got to start seeing some wins. I'm enjoying to see the Arsenal that wins every game, but we're not gonna win every game. It's just like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day. We're gonna have bumps in the road. It's not only gonna be sunshine and rainbows. So we just have to stay on the ride. So.
Yeah. But James, we gotta give it to you. Come on, you Gunners!
Come on, you Gunners. There we go.
Let's bounce back. Super chat from Austin there.
Cheers,
Thank you very much. Who's next? Who else should we bring in next? Waiting for a little name to pop through on the headphones. Sorry. Varane? Varane? Let's bring Varane in. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Is that coming through okay? Yeah, we can just about hear you. Go on, take it away. Give us your thoughts. The internet's not quite there, but I think we'll be able to hear you. So give us your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I'm obviously disappointed because if you look at it, this was probably the biggest game in nearly 18 years. And I kind of felt that we did not do enough, again, schoolboy errors. And I'm frustrated with the fact that, we didn't have Thomas Partey fit and ready and firing today, because I think he's such a vital cog for us in this team. But having said that, I think Jorginho actually played really well. I kind of enjoyed what he did. He brings something different, but he's quite not like Thomas Partey. He doesn't have that drive to go forward with. Some players weren't good. I mean, Xhaka had a few chances where he could have pulled the trigger. He never did. Again, Tomiyasu and Gabriel making those mistakes. It wasn't the perfect display, but in the end, it is what it is. I was really angry after the final whistle, but I had some time to sit down and think about it, and we still have to go to the Etihad to play against them, and I'm just hoping that Thomas Partey and everyone else is fit and ready then, and that probably this team and Mikel Arteta has learned a few things from today's result. I was disappointed with Nketiah. Again, two chances where he could have put that at the back of the net and it would have been a completely different story. But it is what it is. Again, like the previous person had said, it's a young team and they're learning, so we got to be patient. I also wanted to know what you thought about the style of play today, James. I mean, do you think that playing from the back is really becoming a problem for us now?
What do you think?
I don't think it's a problem for us generally. I just don't think it's the best decision to try and do that against Manchester City, who are, the experts here and would probably know how to defend it quite well as well.
Yeah, good point. What's my feelings on it? I think like anything in football, this could apply to any tactic, any approach play, anything. I always believe in unpredictability. I always believe in having more than one weapon. I love that Zinchenko inverts. I love that. I love that he comes into midfield and he helps us overload, and he's one of two deep line playmakers with Xhaka getting forward. I love that. But I don't love it if it's the only thing we do. I also love Martinelli driving inside and then Zinchenko overlapping. What we were finding was Xhaka pulling out wide. Cool. Let's not sit there and slag that off, because that's how we got our goal against United when Eddie scored that header. So it can work, but then sometimes it doesn't, and we need to have different layers. Now we're playing out the back. I think we do it better than most teams in the league. Probably better than anyone. City don't play out from the back quite as much. Do we do better than City? I don't know, but I think we do it very, very well. But you've got to have something else. City went long today a lot, just to put the ball in the half it needed to be in. Martinelli and Saka hugged the touchline a lot. Great. But I want to see them darting inside as well. Odegaard drifts right to combine with Saka. But I'd love to see him come into more of a 10 space, see if he can combine with Martinelli, and then Xhaka just not get forward as much. There's different ways you can, move the puzzle around. And I just think Arsenal have been Trossard has only come on for Martinelli, but Eddie Nketiah always deserved to keep his place on the pitch? I don't think so. So these are the things I want to see Arteta showing a little bit more of. A little bit. He brought on Vieira for Xhaka again today. I thought Xhaka, while he wasn't having a great game, especially in the final third, I thought the amount of times he was winning the ball back and driving us up the pitch was quite important. So I have an issue with doing the same things all the time. I think we need to be able to ask different questions. And if he brought on Tierney for... Dave Jordan's going to go mad in the comments. If he brought in Tierney for Zinchenko today, I wouldn't have minded, because at least you'd have asked a different question of Walker when we got into the final third. So, yeah, it's just about doing different things for me. I don't mind a particular tactic. I just mind when it's the only tactic.
Yeah, I just feel that this style of play is becoming a bit too predictable. And we can't afford that at this point of the season, because I think Newcastle, they came in and they kind of showed everyone how you could frustrate us. And then against Everton, it was, again, Sean Dyche football. And now it's becoming predictable to the point where we don't seem to have a different dynamic. Like I would have loved for us to have gone into the transfer window and found ourselves like a target man, someone who can deal with crosses. And that just goes back to the frustration that Eddie just did not head those balls or at least get them on target today, because I thought anyone else in that position would have probably put that in the back of the net. But I'm willing to be a little more patient and see how it goes the next couple of games. Arteta has, I think he has credit in the bank, and he's proven me wrong this season, because this style of football, when it works, it works. It's doing well now, but I hope it continues and we can get out of this this rut that we are in right now.
Yeah, look, pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Super chat from AP. Next year with Qatar owners of United, money of Chelsea, with the already spent money of Man City, do we really think our squad and owners will ever compete with that level? This year seems our chance. AP, we say it every year. Everyone said last year was our only chance to get top 4. Football's just unpredictable. When Arsenal were winning leagues, there would have been a question about other teams that were trying to, break in. I know that's nearly 20 years ago, but every year there's a, but what if? But but they'll be better. They'll be better. Things change. Ten Hag and Man United look like they're going in the right path, but they also did under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at one point. They added Sancho, Varane, and Ronaldo, and got worse. So, AP, I appreciate your super chats, and you're sparking some good discussion, debate, but I think we need to just we need to relax a little bit, is what I'm saying. What do you think?
I mean,
is this our best chance?
Yeah, this is our best chance of top 4 or best chance of winning the league. What do you mean?
Oh, winning the league. Yeah.
I don't agree with the Qatari money point, because you're looking. It's not Qatari money, but you look at Chelsea this season. They've spent nearly £700 million, and they're sat down, which is hilarious, by the way, sat down in 10th place. So I don't think just because other teams are going to be spending money going into next season, that's going to be a problem for us going forward, because we've seen it in the past. We've done it. We've not spent as much as those guys, and we're higher than everyone, apart from Man City at the moment. And you look.
I think that's what other people need to remember as well. This Arsenal team is far from complete. In terms of
course,
this isn't the year Arteta went brilliant. Finally got everything I wanted in place. Let's build from here. We know that he wants to add in midfield properly, and I do feel like he's been let down by the people around him in terms of getting the right midfielders. But Jorginho, I thought, did well today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think he wants to. I do think he wants to get more depth in that forward line. Sure, Trossard's one of them, but I think he wants to get a proper wide forward and really get someone who can make a difference.
Who would you get?
I have no idea. Once the transfer window is done, I just thought I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, let's get some more calls. We're going to round off. How long have we got? We've got about another 15 minutes. Let's get some final thoughts. Let's get Elliot in. Elliot.
Hi, Elliot.
Oh no.
Good start.
Hello, everyone. How are you, gentlemen, tonight?
All right. I will ask you one thing, which hopefully is on a more positive note. What did you make of Jorginho's performance? I know you weren't a fan of the signing, but I thought he looked good today.
Now, here's a pleasant surprise. Jorginho was actually quite good tonight.
Yeah, he was.
I must say. But the problem is, Odegaard wasn't.
Yeah.
The problem is, Nketiah wasn't. The problem is, Gabriel was made to be look like a fool and a ragdoll by a cyborg named Haaland. And we played fast and loose when Tomiyasu decided, I can make a pass back there with one of the best midfielders the last 15 years beside me. You have at it. Here's the thing. When the air is thin, mistakes are punished. We're in thin air right now. And with that, any mistake made by a young, naive group of men will be treated as they should, like stepchildren, like foster offspring that can't find homes.
But wait, what do you mean? Are you talking about Man City just taking advantage of our errors, and they were
yes, absolutely. That's exactly
men against boys, is what you're trying to say? That
it was men against boys, yes.
Right, yeah. It
was men against boys today.
I'd agree with that.
It was men against boys today. And the second thing we have to agree on today is the fact that we can't depend on Thomas Partey anymore. From this day forward.
I sort of agree with that too. Yeah.
We cannot go into next season as Thomas Partey being our starting number 6. Call it a hot take all you want, but it's the truth. When the big matches are there, he is not. And when he is not there, we tend to not do so well, as it happened today. Now, credit to Jorginho, as I said before. He did as well as possible, and actually he played a very good match today. But Partey's our guy. Partey's not been here. When Partey's not here, we tend to not do as well as it was today. And I think at least one of those mistakes are cut out of Partey's.
Which one?
Yeah.
I would say the first goal from Tomiyasu. I think Partey's available for the pass, and it is distributed properly.
Fair enough.
I think that one, to a certain extent, not really the second goal, because Gabriel had his head down. I don't know what he head down, head in the clouds. Who cares? At the end of the day, he juvenility raised its ugly head, and it was Gabriel's head, to be exact. But
do you think
again,
a lot
of
Saturday will tell tale.
Yeah.
Saturday's a huge day for us. If Arsenal have eyes on the league, they must win Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We have dropped too many points in the last couple of matches that we cannot afford to lose on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Fair enough. Look, it's been a pleasure chatting to you as always.
Take care. Thank you.
And one more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
One more thing. Nketiah. All I'm asking for is Jesus to rise from the dead and play for us again like a new signing. Let us pray.
Always a pleasure, man.
Cheers.
I mean, the Jesus thing we've touched on, and what an impact he can have. I do agree on what he said about the Villa game. I know there's always another game, but while we've still got a game in hand which puts us top of the league, if we get anything from it, you've got to just look at the next game. You can't throw in the towel. You've got to say, okay, well, like it would be ridiculous to be in a position where it's still in our hands and go, oh, it's done, because we feel like psychologically it's too much to overcome. We'll get tougher and let's go again. People took real issue with my tweet, right? Here's what I tweeted. Let me just show you. But people just take issue with everything these days.
Yeah,
I tweeted, champions doing what champions do. This young Arsenal side of amazing potential, but not enough to take it to the very, very best. Is what it is. Keep fighting this season and build for next. People sort of took that as me sort of throwing the towel in for the league. I wasn't at all. I was just saying that you keep fighting this season because you got to. But the fact that I'm mentioning that we build for the next is because I don't think we're a one-season wonder. I want to believe we are what Liverpool were when they first chased City all the way down, had that big lead, City caught them back, but then went again the season after and won it. I want to believe that's where we are, because that is a much more exciting future than, oh, it's our only chance, so so be it.
We're an unfinished project, James. Yeah. And I think our biggest problem, and I mentioned it last week and I'll say it again, we just don't have much, it's a very, very young squad. We don't have much experience within the squad. Obviously, he brought in the additions of Jorginho. I believe Jorginho is 31. Trossard, who's got Premier League experience, at 28. I think the starting 11 itself is capable of winning a Premier League. It's just you need to build around that starting 11 and have adequate replacements for when you lose players in that starting 11. Jesus went out. Eddie done a decent job for a little while, but he's not consistent enough for me. And that's not me getting onto him. It's just he's not ready. He's not ready yet. That's the main one for me. But I just think you need to add some experienced heads into this squad, more than we've already got, and that will really push us to really, really challenge for the league.
God, I just keep thinking, for all my frustration about the team, I keep thinking, Jesus, what a difference he would make. Even if he doesn't score those chances, I just think he forces teams back. And the one thing I can say is if we can somehow maintain a lead or something going into March, he can kickstart us again.
Definitely.
It will be that he's back. A fair play to Eddie. Did really well in the North London derby away from home. Stepped up with the goals against United. He's had some big moments.
Yep.
But I don't think anyone could question whether he could score goals. I think people question whether he could lead Arsenal to a title.
No, of course.
And that is talking about a longer term thing. He didn't do badly tonight.
Nope.
In terms of the overall play.
He just didn't do his main job,
which is to score goals when he got the chances.
Yeah.
Some of the hold-up play was okay, to be fair. Some of the fouls he won. But we've got some more callers. Apologies, everyone. Won't be able to do all the callers. But let's get... Is it Foz? Faz. Let's get Faz in.
Hi, Faz.
Faz, how you doing?
Hi, guys.
Frustrating?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud. I would say it's the first time since 07-08 that I felt that there's a real pride in this team and in Arsenal, and feeling that we can really go on a title challenge. Obviously, there was the Leicester season, but I think a lot of teams were below par. And there were a lot of echoes with 07-08, I think, with this season. So in 07-08, we led the table for about 2/3 of the season. We were playing really well. You get that Eduardo game at Birmingham where he gets a broken leg, and it all just collapsed from there. And I don't think it's the same context here, but I do think there are echoes of sort of relying on a top player like Gabriel Jesus, and then he gets injured, and we sort of fall away. And I think there's a lot of similarities to kind of the Manchester United conversation around Harry Maguire as well. So if you criticise Harry Maguire, it seems a personal attack, whereas actually he's just not good enough. And I think Eddie Nketiah is not at the level required to maintain the title challenge. It's nothing personal. I'm sure he's a great kid. But we had Emmanuel Adebayor that season in 07-08 and he scored 24 league goals. And that's just the difference. I'm not sure Gabriel would score that number of goals, but I think we need that cutting edge, and Man City really showed us today. I was at the Brentford game. I'd actually been abroad for a bit, so I hadn't been to games for a while. And it was just interesting. I was going to a lot of games in that early period at the Emirates, and they're just it's pretty similar, to be honest. The atmosphere is slightly better, but actually, I think we're at that level of kind of almost, also Rams, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, Man City just showed us today what class they've got, and that's just a fact. They will win this league. That's not saying that we don't have a chance at all, but I do think that that they are a top team. They've had a bit of a blip recently, but they are the best team in this league. I got annoyed when Gary Neville said that, because you want to believe, and but I just kind of see, and I think that's a lot with a lot of Arsenal fans. They see the past manifesting, and it does happen time and again. Like you said, James, you get to March and it ends up falling away. So great effort so far. We still believe it's possible, but is it probable? I don't personally think so.
Faz, what would you think this Arsenal team's missing to get over that line? Is it more years together? Is it experience? Is it that actually there's nothing to worry? I know you said it's not probable, but actually we just still have so much to learn about this team because there's still so many games to play? Or are you thinking, an upgrade on Xhaka and some of those final third entries? Fair enough, he played the ball to Eddie for the penalty, but do you see maybe certain positions where you go, cool, like you've been very good, but add a world-class player there. What is it for you that stands out the most?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I think, I wouldn't sell Thomas Partey just because he had a hamstring injury for one game. So that's
Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
That should not happen.
But you understand the frustration from fans who, I'm not in the sell part. He's too good. When he's fit, he's too good. Keep him. But I am in the, I'm done relying on him now. I don't know if you watched the Starting 11 show, but I pulled together all the games he's missed. For anyone who hasn't seen it, in his first season, he missed Spurs away, Chelsea home, City home again. One of them was a cup game. In the season after that, he missed Chelsea at home, City away, Chelsea away, Man United at home, Tottenham away, Newcastle away. He's now missed Man United away and Man City at home this season. No, it's not his fault, the poor guy. It's not. I don't blame him, but I am done relying on him.
Yeah, and I think that's what a squad's for. You shouldn't be relying on any one player. Sometimes you're rely on a goal scorer, and we relied a lot. And just have to go back to those days because it was early days at Emirates. I was really so excited about the prospect of winning the league, and I have to go back to relying on, for example, Adebayor. We had Van Persie in the squad at that time, and we couldn't rely on him because he was injured. But that's just what a squad's for. He could come in and score against Barcelona and get us through a Champions League tie, for example. But yeah, we shouldn't be relying on one player. We should have. I think January was a missed opportunity. We shouldn't have had one option that we went for all out, which was Caicedo. I don't see the point in that. You're always going to get knocked back, especially when you've already taken a player from Brighton. So I think there's some learning to be done across the board, not just with Arteta, but also Edu. I know a lot of people sort of saying Edu out, but that doesn't really solve much, maybe. But I don't know. I'm not sure that's the answer.
But I do think the trend of going for big targets and not getting it over the line needs to change. But I know what you mean. Kind of reserve that for another day. Faz, you've been brilliant. Thank you so much. Pleasure chatting to you.
Take care.
Love that. Great call. As is everyone. We'll get a couple more in. Apologies. I know everyone is waiting in the background. Obviously, we can't do every caller, but we really appreciate everyone who has jumped onto FANZONE and is here to give their thoughts. Who have we got next? Apologies. Kian. Let's get Kian in. While we get Kian, Long Live X King says, when subbing, Martinelli stays 9 and Eddie off. So he wants to see Trossard come on, but actually seeing Martinelli go up front or doing something different with that front three. Kian.
Hi, Kian.
Take it away.
Hey, guys. Tough night, I suppose, for everyone. I suppose the first thing that I'd say is, I have a question probably towards you is, maybe the first thing looking at the team today, is there certain players that maybe are playing as if they're too comfortable in there at the time, or maybe need to be kind of put on the bench in the next game or so, just maybe to give someone else an opportunity to make, like Martinelli now, the last 3 or 4 games, I've been kind of disappointed. Like, I know how great a player he is, but I think he's not been at the same level as he was recently, whether it's a confidence thing or something. It just seems that he's a bit poor, so maybe it's now a chance to say to Trossard, now look, we'll give you a chance, this is your time to make a name of yourself. Like, he's had a few good kind of stints where he's come on as a substitute and kind of injected something into the game, and maybe is that something like
you asked if you ask these players are too comfortable. I think the opposite. I think they look too nervous. Like, if I've got a picture here, you can't see it on screen. I've got a photo of a screenshot, and it was just before Grealish's goal, and it's when Xhaka was meant to slide it into Eddie Nketiah, and he overcooked the pass and went out. That's horrendous. But I don't think he gets that wrong in another game or earlier in the season. Xhaka, if anything's, too safe a passer. He's not the most. I guess his pass for the penalty win, right? But he's not the kind of player that gets that wrong and he overcooks it. And I just wonder whether Arsenal's looking at them like, just relax. They're giving the ball away. Tomiyasu doesn't normally do that. Xhaka doesn't get that pass wrong, and he doesn't miss that many chances normally.
No, of
course.
Do
you feel like they got in their heads too much tonight?
No, absolutely. I think they definitely did overthink certain things. I think, going back to Kian's first point about 2 players being too comfortable, I think you're only looking at one really, and it is Eddie Nketiah, because he's the only one at the moment with no direct replacement. Gabriel Jesus is out, Balogun's on loan, so he's the only one that you can realistically look at and say, Mikel says to him, right, you're in the lineup this week. In terms of the comfortability, I think he's the only one, not everyone else. The second point, was that the one where you should make changes? Is that correct? Yeah.
Like, do you make changes in, like, for example, like Trossard maybe coming in, or Vieira maybe coming in?
Yeah. So the changes that I make personally, and this is going into the Aston Villa game, I think you give Kieran Tierney his opportunity now. I don't know why he hasn't been given that opportunity. When he has come in, he has done very, very well. I think Tomiyasu was a bit unfortunate tonight. He got his opportunity and it just didn't work out for him. So maybe we do go back with Ben White for that game. And then you're looking at the striker position and you're looking at the left-hand side. Martinelli's out of form. So do you put Trossard there, or do you put Trossard up top and keep Martinelli on the left? I think that's the big question. You know, we've seen Leandro Trossard do it for Brighton this season. You know, he scored 7 Premier League goals for Brighton playing in that striker role. So I think that you do make the changes for the Aston Villa game.
Yeah. Kian, just very quickly, do you think we'll win it?
No.
The league?
I think I would love to think we could, but I think kind of when you look at the experience in our squad, now Jesus and Smith Rowe, they come back in, it could change the mentality of the squad because we've got 2 great players potentially coming back in. So it'll all be about keeping players fit, getting the best out of their performance. But I just think when you look at Man City, do you see Man City really kind of stepping off the ball or kind of underperforming? I don't think so.
Fair enough.
Really with us. I'd like to think we could, but I'm unsure really.
Fair enough. Kian, pleasure having you on. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
We're going to take one more caller and we'll round it off there. So again, apologies to everyone we couldn't get in, but a big thanks to everyone who has jumped on AFTV FANZONE. We will make sure, to get different people all the time and give everyone the thoughts. Apparently Julian's in the building, so what I'll do, Frank, I'm going to say a big thank you to you.
Good pleasure, guys.
And we'll get one more call with Julian. Just very quickly, Rob says, James, are you in love with Xhaka? You can do no wrong in your eyes. Rob, let me tell you now, right? I have been slagged off many a time for not rating Xhaka enough. So I really don't have the energy to get into that discussion. Austin says, saying the team has no character is ridiculous. Simply the attack was second guessing it today. In the second half, we invited too much pressure from Man City. We've got one final call, then we'll get Julian's thoughts. Welcome, Julian.
Hello.
Who have we got? Who's our final caller on FANZONE? Who's that? Sorry, I missed the name. We got one. Let's bring one in. Hey, how you doing? Oh, internet issues.
Hey, how are y'all?
Yeah, good. There are a few internet issues, but I'm going to let you take the floor. Just give us your thoughts and whether you think we're still going to win the league.
I think it was a disappointing game. You know? I feel like we really lost the game because of our mistakes. We don't have anybody to blame but ourselves. I think everybody on defense, the midfield was poor. The forwards were poor. I think the only good players today were Saka and Saliba and Jorginho. And I think everybody else was poor. Arteta, I'm a bit disappointed too. We've been on a bad form recently. Everton, Bird. I feel like we should have been made changes. I feel like he should have took out Martinelli. He's bad form. Zinchenko, I think he's been poor recently. I just think the whole team has just took a whole dip. And I kind of blame everybody for it. I blame Arteta for not changing anything and the players because I just feel like they're losing hunger. I get it's a young team. They still have a lot more learning to do, but we're definitely not ready to be champions. I think we're not winning the league. I want us to win the league, but I just don't see it happening. Like you saw how City just dominated us second half. Like we were nowhere second half. I just felt like we have a lot to go before we become champions. We still have more depth. We don't have a bench. Like when we're losing, like who do we go to? Jesus here. I don't think Nketiah is good enough. Like we don't have anybody. I think we need a F. We need to really focus on cutting out those mistakes. I think there's a long way to go before we can talk about being in a title race.
Fair enough. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
I mean, I pretty much disagree with everything he said.
Well, what are your thoughts then?
Well, for a start, I didn't think...
off now, by the way. Give me a headache.
Okay.
Go on.
For a start, I didn't think City dominated us.
No, I don't think they dominated
I
us
disagreed with that. I absolutely disagreed with every player on the pitch was poor. I thought every player on the pitch was great. However, now this is the big however, is that we made some fundamental mistakes, and against a team of the quality of City, and they are absolute quality. You cannot afford to give them anything, and we gave them 3 goals. And some of our finishing was poor. It was almost like everything in between was fabulous. The passion was fabulous. Some of the passing was great. Some of the interplay.
First half, I agree.
I mean, even the second half, we weren't dominated, but we made some such fundamental mistakes. And against other teams, I think we would have got away with it. But against City, you don't. And to beat a team of City's quality, you have to have a faultless performance.
I think a lot of what you said is fair, and it's nice to hear, and it's true of the first half. I think first half, we were the better team. I don't think we dominated them, but we had more of the ball. I thought we looked more likely to score. I thought we were playing some really crisp passes. Thought we settled into it nicely. Thought we were a team that missed 2 key parts of our spine in Jesus and Partey and responded well to that. I did think, however, though, that second half, while City didn't dominate us in terms of chances and, playing lots of, intricate tiki-taka football and all that, I did think they just had us exactly where they wanted us, which was in that area of the pitch, not really doing a lot, huffing and puffing, tiring, and waiting for their chances to pounce, and they came and they took them. In the second half, we didn't do anywhere near enough to test Ederson. I thought Xhaka's passing in the final third, everything up to that, I thought Xhaka defended really well, won the ball back a lot in midfield, tried to drive us forward, was always an option, was always, trying to help play. I thought Xhaka did a lot of things really well. But in the final third, we got to hurt Man City. Xhaka not good enough, Ødegaard not good enough, Marseille not good enough, and Nketiah not good enough. Yeah.
In the final third. That's what I said.
Zinchenko not good enough in the final third
It wasn't even the final third. It was like the final 10%, that last, almost like the hard part they could do. Everything in between. And we didn't dominate City and they didn't dominate us. I thought it was pretty equal over the 90 minutes. But we gave them the chances. And when you say they were waiting for their chance to pounce, we gave them the chance to pounce. I don't think
they did press us a bit better. Gabriel gives the ball away, but there are. I could see what he was trying to do. There were a few Arsenal players there, but City got there.
But then the one thing I kind of half agreed with was a little bit of criticism of Arteta.
Yeah.
In as much as when you're playing a team as good as City, you cannot play in the same way. It was almost like Wenger-like. It was a bit of arrogance that it's like, let's worry about our game. No, when you're playing a team of that quality, you can't exactly play out of the back like you can do against a team like Southampton or Bournemouth or whatever teams are of lesser ability than Man City, which is pretty much every team in the league.
Yeah.
And they still try to play the same way. And one little mistake, and it's really difficult to play out in that intricate way. Everything's got to be exact. And when it's not exact, you give the ball away. But when you give the ball away against City and against a player of Haaland's quality, then they score. And that's exactly what happened. So one criticism I would have of Arteta is that don't play the same way as you do against the other teams, not because you're not good enough, but because the other team is too good.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm just watching back the second goal we conceded and just wanted to see Gabriel's involvement. I mean, he's trying to thread it into Xhaka, but there's a lot that can be done to stop the goal at that point. But obviously, that's the bit we give it away and they take advantage. We're going to leave it there. You did predict in the Starting 11 show we'd lose the game, but we'd win the league.
Yeah, so let's hope I'm right.
Do you think you're right?
I always think I'm right, but I'm probably the only one that thinks that most of the time.
It's true.
Yeah.
That was a dumb question from me.
Yeah.
I think if we can respond well against Villa and Leicester, and then we've got Everton at home, those are the next 3. Arsenal need to have as good a next 3 as they've had as bad a last 3, if that makes sense. It's got to be a complete swing where it's been, out of 9 points, we've dropped 8 of them. Arsenal need to come out of this, with a really good performances, 9 points in a row, go back to 3 points ahead of City, and just say to them, look, like we're still here. Just at least make them have to work for every game.
If you look at what happened last season when we had 3 poor results, then we'd normally go on a good run.
Yeah.
So you've got to think positive.
All right.
This time next week, we'll be top of the league.
How long till the...
Who are City playing this weekend?
Oh, City. Do you know the worst thing is? They've come out top of the league when they had their really hard run. That's the really frustrating thing.
Who have they got and when?
But they've just had United, Chelsea, Spurs and Arsenal away, and they've come out top of the league. Albeit we've got a game in hand, but still. They've got Forest away, then they've got Bournemouth away, then they've got Newcastle at home, then they've got Palace away, then they've got West Ham at home. I'm not confident. I'm not confident they're going to drop many more points. Actually, look at their final run of games. It's pretty favourable. That was the opportunity to go 6 and potentially 9 points clear, and we've missed it. But Rob, this guy Rob is in the comments saying I'm bigging up Xhaka too much. Okay,
you're bigging up.
Apparently, I'm being too nice about it. Some people just talk shit, but fair enough. All right, let's leave it there. So you think we're going to win the league?
I can't say no, can I?
You can't.
No.
You'd be admitting you're wrong.
Yeah, I'll never do that.
Fair enough. I don't think we're going to win the league. I did after Spurs. I did after United. Results, performances, change opinions. I've changed my opinion after what I've seen. But if we get through the next 3 games with 3 wins, we add Jesus, Smith Rowe and Partey back to this group, who knows?
Then you're going to change your mind again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Leicester lost both games to us, 5-2 and 2-1, and with a last-minute sucker punch at the Emirates.
Yeah, it was actually Welbeck punch.
Yes, true. And they won the league.
Time. They did win the league. And they were 5,000 to 1 at the beginning of the season. And I think Arsenal's odds to win the league now are going to be less than 5,000 to 1. So anything's possible.
All right. Have we made you believe? Not sure I made myself believe. All right, we'll leave it there. Big thanks to everyone who's joined us for full time. It's one of those things. It's one of those things. Arsenal had a big test. They haven't come through it. But it's still a long way to go. And we see.
And they gave it a good go.
They tried.
You cannot fault the effort.
No, I don't fault the effort.
No, the effort was brilliant. The passion was wonderful. The final ball wasn't up to the passion. And
the execution in the 2 most crucial areas of the pitch was where we missed it.
It's a shame tonight that 2 areas, which was defence and attack, which was slightly important to the result of the game, didn't quite go our way. Other than that, we were brilliant.
Other than in defence and attack, we were superb.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, you always put a smile on my face. Thank you, Julian. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. Sorry for my awful energy on this stream right now, but can you blame me? I'm trying not to be like over the top and go crazy about it, but I'm also not going to pretend I feel more positive than I do. So we'll leave it there. Arsenal have lost to Manchester City. I did think it was the biggest game at the Emirates of my lifetime, in the league anyway. And we've lost it, but the season's not lost, and that's the beauty of it. It wasn't a cup final.
Yeah, it probably was.
Felt like one.
Probably was one bigger game, I think. So I thought it was a really good stream that you did a few days ago, which was the biggest ever game at the stadium. And I would say September 11th, 2021. Remember that game?
Yeah, was it Norwich?
Correct.
Why do you think that was the biggest one?
Because if Arsenal had lost that game and probably not won it, I think Arteta would have been sacked.
Yeah, I agree.
And the fact that we got through that 1-0, a little bit lucky. I remember the Aubameyang goal. It was hardly the greatest finished ever, but we won 1-0, we scraped it, and Arteta's still here.
Very true.
And if we look back, hopefully in years to come, that could have been the most important game ever at Emirates Stadium.
Very true. All right, we'll leave it there. Big thanks to everyone who's joined us. We'll catch you on the next one.